Now, it was a bad night at the ballot box for the UK's two main political parties as voters in local elections told the ruling Conservative Party and the main opposition Labour Party that they're not happy with what either is offering. Now, the dissatisfaction centres on the topic that has dominated every facet of political life for nearly 3 years. And of course, we're talking about Brexit.
That's right. Now, up for grabs are more than 8,000 council seats in England, 6 mayoral positions and 11 Northern Irish councils. Wales and Scotland didn't vote as they operate under a different schedule. With almost half of the English local council results declared, well, it looks like this. The Conservatives have lost over 500 seats, while Labour are down 78 seats. But the big winners of the night, they were the smaller parties like the Lib Dems, the Greens and the newly formed Independent Group.
And for more on this, let's go over to Ollie Barrett, who's live in London. Ollie, Brexit frustration from the voters ringing a loud bell for the Conservatives as well as Labour. Is anybody listening to either party?
Brexit has certainly been important in these local elections up and down the country. In terms of whether the major parties are listening on Brexit, they can listen as much as they like. It's whether they can do anything about it. Labour, the opposition Labour Party, is hopelessly divided itself on how to move forward in terms of Brexit. A large chunk of the party wishes Britain was staying in the European Union and wants there to be a second referendum. Another large chunk of the party believes that Brexit should now be delivered. So will it therefore make some kind of compromise with the governing Conservative Party over a Brexit deal? A very difficult dilemma for it. When it comes to the Conservatives do want to deliver Brexit for the most part when it comes to MPs at Westminster, but they are hopelessly divided on exactly what type of Brexit to deliver, how to deliver Brexit. So very difficult with a divided Conservative Party, a divided Labour Party, a divided Parliament when it comes to Brexit, to see exactly how the major parties can respond to the drubbing that they've been getting in the polls. Cross-party talks on Brexit continue, but they will be very, very difficult indeed to reach a compromise on.
Ollie, the Lib Dems, the independent groups, as well as the Greens, they were the big winners of the night. Do you think this is an ominous signal, perhaps, for those two main parties, if a general election were to be called? Are we seeing some kind of fatigue here with the voters?
Very possibly, although the death of the traditional two-party British system has been heralded before, and then in the last general election we saw the vast majority of voters returning to Labour and returning to the Conservatives. We do often see local elections used as a protest vote, and many people voting for the Liberal Democrats up and down the country, for example, will have been doing so for local issues because their bins weren't being collected on time. For example, they wanted a different party to come in and make a difference on local issues, but certainly the major parties will be very worried about this trend, increasingly so because coming up at the end of this month, Britain is due to take part in European elections in which the Brexit Party will compete, the Brexit Party of Nigel Farage. So that's an extra new, smaller party entering into the fray that can pose a challenge to the two main parties. So yes, Labour and the Conservatives very, very worried indeed about these results.
Now, we're always talking about Theresa May when it comes to such discussions. Is there a future for her as Prime Minister?
Depends who you ask. There are now increasing numbers of Conservative grassroots supporters, activists, campaigners, local candidates, MPs who do want Theresa May to step aside. She doesn't appear minded to resign voluntarily at this point. She does want to try and carry out Brexit in some form. So there is that impasse within the Conservative Party. We may get to a point in the not too distant future where it comes down to the British cabinet. It comes down to those MPs who surround Theresa May in her own cabinet. If they get to the point where they feel that the party is saying to them, look, this has gone on too long, we need a new leader, they may tell Theresa May that they can't support her anymore, and at that point her position would be untenable. Certainly her authority has been chipped away at again by these results. It may well be chipped away at if we go ahead with those European elections at the end of the month as well. A very difficult situation for Theresa May, but we've seen through recent months that she is not the type of politician who tends to believe that stepping down, stepping aside, resigning would be the right way to go forward.